Hey guys, it's Kat, and I'm here to watch a video about a heterosexual femboy. And we're gonna watch that as I get ready for streaming later. I figured that I would share some of my commentary because I just find this to be a really interesting topic. So that is what we're here to discuss. Now, I will say that before we get into this, I'm usually not a huge fan of these videos. I'm usually not a huge fan of these kind of truly videos. These videos are often kind of exploitative, and knowing several people that have been in some of these videos, I know that as much as they may present as trying to be truthful and honest and blunt about all of the things, they're not usually. You know what I mean? They're not really. It's not really about that. It's about clicks. It's about views. So there is a lot of clickbait in here, but a lot of people in the comment section seem to be confused by his identity, and purely because I understand parts of it, I thought that I would watch and react to it and just give you my thoughts. Let's get into it. All right, here we go.
My name is Foxy Alex. Is that a boy or is that a girl? I got my ribs broken to be the baddest femboy with a snatched waist. Hi, I'm Foxy Alex. I am 21 years old. I'm based in Los Angeles, California, but I'm originally from Panama. I would describe my look as hyper feminine, Latina, very spicy. So this is my little beauty corner. Here's where I usually get ready every morning. I love like a full glam.
So I just want to start by saying that I am so in love with the way that more people are being honest and open about the complexities of their identity. And even though, like I said, there's something to be said about the way that, you know, these channels are really just kind of like exploitative, and they're not really like that deeply interested in, you know, really representing. I still think it's cool because there are so many people who, you know, probably do feel exactly this way, but need to see or know at least that there are other people like them. And as a person who's known many a heterosexual man who identified as a cross-dresser or cross-dressed, it's kind of cool for me to see people, bare minimum, being open about the complexity of gender identity and expression. And I think that that's where a lot of people are confused when it comes to this particular case.
Every single day, I wear a full face of makeup. I always have my nails on. I just want to wear all the things that younger me was too insecure or too afraid to wear back in Panama. I love to wear female clothes because it just makes me feel more in touch with myself. When I was 17, I started wearing makeup and really exploring myself through makeup artistry. And I feel like I just realized I was more comfortable in the feminine side of things. When I go out in public, it's crazy. If I walk in from like a crowd of guys, they'll all like start like clapping and like cheering. And then I'm like, I wonder if they know I'm a guy secretly.
See, and here's the thing I love about this particular conversation. You know, there is something about being feminine in our society that will always get a reaction or a response from people who are attracted to women. And there is so much complexity in that because, you know, a lot of men who are reacting to Foxy Alex, they're reacting to something. You know, they're reacting to something. Yeah. And it's not just who he is or his biology, it's his essence and aura, you know. And I also, side note, I believe Foxy Alex did follow me yesterday on Instagram.
I refer to myself as like a feminine boy, a femboy. I do not care about any pronouns. You can call me she, you can call me he. As long as you don't call me it, we're not gonna have a problem. I feel like people make assumptions based on the way that I look. They assume that I live a certain kind of lifestyle. I don't know, like a bimbo, like a hardcore party person. I love to read, I love to paint, I love to go to museums. I'm pansexual, but I'm hetero-romantic, so I only date women. People always get surprised.
So what does that mean? Okay, I'm pansexual, but I'm hetero-romantic. So some people will phrase their sexuality in this way, and usually it's to communicate to people, typically in the context of dating and such, how exactly they explore. So being pansexual means that you are someone who is attracted to multiple genders, right? Many genders. That's something that is typically very intentionally inclusive of trans folks, genderqueer folks, etc. That is kind of the difference that some people draw in the line between pansexual and bisexual, is that pansexual is more intentionally inclusive of trans folks. So being pansexual in the way that he's describing it means that he is sexually attracted to everyone, right? He's sexually attracted to everyone. Pansexuals will often say hearts, not parts, right? That's, again, I'm not here to debate that. I'm just telling you how people discuss it, right? But he says that he's hetero-romantic, meaning that the only relationships he has as a person who identifies as a man is with women. I've always found it to be kind of interesting how people often assume that that's not a pattern that is easily observable, because I've known so many feminine men or people who are men but aren't traditionally masculine, who are still attracted to women, still desire women, still want only to be in relationships with women. And I think one of the things that Foxy Alex really draws to attention is the way that we look at sexuality and gender expression as always going hand in hand, right? If a man is less than feminine, oh, this must mean that he's attracted to men, which of course in this case, that's true, right? A lot of the debate is over the title of this video, which, let me make sure I don't get it wrong. It says, "Yes, I'm a straight man, hooked on the look." And it's obviously a thumbnail of him looking very bodacious, right? But yeah, through my life, I've known so many people who are designated male at birth who may be on the femme spectrum, who are only attracted to women. It's way more common than you think. But of course, in this context, what he's saying is that while he may be attracted to everyone, he only desires romantic relationships with women. So that's what pansexual but hetero-romantic typically means. There are a lot of people who will have that way of phrasing their sexuality.
When I say this, because they think that like a very feminine person like me is trying to like attract like a masculine guy, but no, I'm a straight femboy. My first procedure was my spine surgery. It was 11 hours. It has like really severe scoliosis, 180 degrees. That was the first procedure I had, and I think that made me not scared of plastic surgery. 11 hours compared to any other thing. A nose job is just a walk in the park. I had a hair transplant.
Hey.
I had my nose done. I've had Botox since I was 18 years old. I've had rib remodeling surgery, and I felt like I didn't exactly was giving like hourglass before that. The next procedure,
Hey, the
I
ass
think I
is
want to
fat,
get more
though.
ribs broken. I just want to have like a smaller waist. Today, my friend is coming over. He's been talking to my mom. They're a little worried about my next surgery.
When Alex got her ribs cracked, I was terribly anxious. I'm always worried.
All right, so I kind of wanted to share my thoughts about this real quick. Just my thoughts about, let's just say, gender-affirming care for everyone, in quotations. And I have kind of an unpopular opinion about this a little bit. A lot of people are probably like, why is this femboy getting surgeries done? And there's a couple of different ways of kind of looking at that. Typically, when people are getting these procedures, they're transitioning into a binary gender. And a lot of people may argue that those who do not assimilate into gender, those who choose, in quotations, to not be on the binary side, are in one way kind of making a mockery, so to speak, of transgender people. And I don't think that. I am not a trans person who has that thought. My perspective is this. As much as I understand why gender-affirming care is not really something most cis people may want, it is something that some of them do. Some of them do. And I don't love the historic practice of forcing people to basically make sure they match a script before they're able to receive care. For some people, gender-affirming care is life or death, right? And I do think that there's something to be said about that. But I also struggle to genuinely take issue with, let's just say, a cis person getting a surgery purely because they want to and because it's something that they would like to do. A lot of people are like, people shouldn't transition willy-nilly, and I agree with that. I don't think that transition is something to be taken lightly. I don't think that these procedures are something to be taken lightly. I mean, he's talking about getting his ribs cracked. That's pretty serious. That's pretty serious. I don't know. Like, that's just very serious. Where I'm from, that's just very serious. But also, I kind of love the idea of living in a society where that is something that they can just do if they want to. And I actually think that a society that doesn't force people to jump through hoops to qualify, to make sure that, I think that's better. Do I think those conversations need to be had? Yeah, I do. But do I think that gatekeeping, gender-affirming care, put it this way, this is what I was trying to say that I'm trying to dance around. I think people who transition without actually being trans, in quotations, and I'm putting all this in quotation because these are other people's ideas, not mine. Like people who go and get the go get the surgeries and things. I feel like for the most part, if you don't want it, if it's not for you, you're going to know that pretty quickly. You're going to know that pretty fucking quickly. You're going to know that these procedures are not meant for you, or these procedures are not good for you pretty quickly. And it's such a commitment. It's so fucking expensive that I have a really, really hard time even understanding how people get to the point where they're having major surgeries that they regret. But I'm also saying that as someone who has never had plastic surgery, but also knowing several people who have, it seems like a thing where, of course, there are sometimes complications. Of course, sometimes things don't go as planned. But for the most part, the people who get it really fucking want it. And I actually don't see a lot of purpose in litigating someone else's personal choices. And I think that trans people are more free in a world where, they're able to just do what they want with their bodies. Is that making any sense? I don't know. I don't really know if that makes sense. Someone says, does this include men that want their hair transplants? Why should they not get hair transplants? Why not? Why not? Literally, why not? To take this conversation even further, I actually think you should be able to do whatever the fuck you want to do with your body. Period. 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 That's literally how I feel. And that's actually one of the strongest bits of politic that I have. It seems really odd to me that so many people want to control what other people do with their bodies. And that goes from trans people to what women are doing with their bodies, to even what men are doing with their bodies. I'm Alex got hair transplants. So what? So what? So what? To me, right, like, why haven't I had surgeries? Because I'm afraid of complications, right? And because I've measured that surgeries are not important enough to me for me to deal with the aftermath. That is my personal choice. There are some places where they will hold your gender hostage until you've proven to them that you are actually the gender that you say you are. And I don't actually think that that's good. I understand why people think it's necessary, but I'm having a hard time understanding the type of person who wants a major gender-affirming surgery, who also doesn't understand the surgery, who also has the money to afford for the surgery, who, what I mean? Like, that's not an average person. Do you know what I mean? That's not an average person, even remotely. So I don't really have issues with people getting plastic surgery. Do I have my opinions? Yeah, my opinions. I think that some people are overdoing it with certain things, but that's not my body to live with. That is not my body to live with. And I have such a hard time, like, understanding how people manage to get so comfortable just saying, you know what? You shouldn't be able to do this with your body because I don't like it, or it confuses me. So what? So what? It confuses you. Who cares? Who are you? Who are you? Okay, who are you? Anyway, let's keep going. Now that I've mostly put most of my makeup on my face.
This was me when I was more masculine. I had some facial hair, thicker brows. Okay. I was very handsome. I was like Latin lover, papi. This was like my original nose before my nose job. I look good. I think I look handsome, I am proud of him from how far he's come in his journey, and there's nothing wrong with him. He just, yeah, he was discovering himself. When I look in the mirror, I feel very proud of myself. I've overcome a lot of challenges. As an immigrant, I migrated from Panama into the United States, and I've built myself up from nothing. I am very happy with the way I look. I feel like I'm finally getting to a place where I look in the mirror and I see a person that's very beautiful, and I'm really happy about that. I get a lot of hate online. Like, what is that? Is that a man or a woman? What are you trying to do? Why don't you transition already? Somebody commented, these are the spermatozoids that should have ended in the bathroom floor. You got a joystick and it's still there. You can never change that. And I'm at peace with my joystick.
I love it. I love it. They're like, you're a man. Did you know that? Did you know that you're a man and you have a penis? Like, yeah, that's kind of the point, I think.
I don't know why they're all so in shock. I'm allergic to nuts. You're a freak of nature. I think the only time it like got to me, I guess maybe when I was younger. I've been doing social media since I was like 16 years old. Like, I was already doing makeup videos. At this point in my life, I've heard it all.
Damn.
Like, what else are you gonna say to me? Like, come on, guys, let's get a little more creative. I don't feel bad about it. I actually feel excited. It means like my post is getting shown to like a new audience.
Amen.
So that always boosts my social media engagement. I still get my check at the end of the month every month, so I don't mind. Thank you, everybody that has ever hated on me. Thanks to you guys, I can afford this lifestyle.
Amen.
And all my surgeries. My ultimate goal with plastic surgery is to be the supreme femboy. Like, I want people to actually be confused. Like, is that a boy or is that a girl or what's going on here? I don't know what is it, but I like it. To all the people that judge me, I have one thing to say. Keep doing it, keep boosting my social media, keep making my videos go viral, because the more you hate on me, the fatter my gets and the more money there's in my bank account.
Amen. Hey. Amen. Amen. In fact, let me quickly look at some of the comments and like read some of them to you guys. Some of the top comments. Straight ... to the comments. He's straight, then I'm a billionaire. He's straight as a circle. That's a male lesbian, I suppose. Upon doing my research, he is lying. He likes guys. Spaghetti is straight too, until it gets hot. Haven't heard that one in 10 years. See, like, the thing that's really funny to me about this is he only says that he is hetero-romantic. I mean, like I said, this is all clickbait. This is all clickbait that is there purely to get people to engage with it. And I kind of love that at the very end of the video, he kind of admits as much. He says, like, look, that's kind of what I'm doing. Like, I'm literally here getting reactions from people and you guys are giving it to me, and that's kind of what all this is, right? Like, all of this is, let's talk about something crazy purely to get a reaction. That's literally all it is. That's legit all it is. Let's talk about something really out there purely to get a reaction. And I've spoken about this a few different times, but I've actually been approached by these companies before. A little while back, I was approached by, it wasn't truly, I think they're all part of the same company. There's one that starts with a B, whose name I'm completely forgetting right now. But basically, they wanted me and my boyfriends to film something for them. They wanted for me to come in with all of my partners and, to talk about, that whole thing. And the thing is, I take myself too seriously and I'm too passionate about what I do and what I try to represent to feel comfortable with giving my voice over to them, because these people aren't interested in properly representing people. And I think that the people that are really able to capitalize on this are people who don't take themselves too seriously. And it's very clear that Foxy Alex does not take themselves too seriously. And I think that is perfect for them. Good for them. Love that for them. Love that for them. But anyway, I just thought this was like a really interesting topic purely because this is something that is so confusing to so many people. And there's a lot of conversation happening about femboys right now. I made a video on my TikTok that I also uploaded to my side channel, blaqueinthecity.com. And I also wrote something on my website about specifically cross-dressers and sort of the way that that kind of ends up crossing into a lot of the political conversations that we've had recently. I will put links to that below in the video if this gets made into a video. Like I said, I'm live streaming, so who knows? But I do think that this is a really interesting topic because it is very, very common for people who only desire romantic relationships with women who are designated male at birth, who are feminine, to only be attracted to women. For some people, they may even want to feminize themselves because of how inspired they are by the femininity of women. And for a lot of people, it isn't anything to do with gender identity as much as it does just the way that they want their body to appear. Now, for me, listening to some of what he says in this video, you know, you can kind of get the sense that maybe there is a little bit of gender stuff going on there. Maybe, but that's my projection. That's my own understanding of things. And I've never particularly found it to be very productive to hyperfixate on people's identity and, you know, try to define it for them personally. I don't really think that that's useful. I struggle to find the energy to give a fuck about whether or not that's how he identifies. It's just not something very important to me. And I'm sure the women who end up in his bed will find out how heterosexual he is. Anyway, on that note, I will leave you guys here. So I finished my makeup. Let me know what you guys think. I know it's a very normal, very, you know, daytime beat. That's kind of, you know, what I go for these days, you know. But anyway, I would love to know what you guys have to say about this. I think obviously that this is a topic people like to debate about, and I welcome that, but of course be respectful to others in the comment box. I would love to hear what you guys have to say in the comment box below, so please give me your comments. I will talk to you guys very, very soon. And as per usual, I want you to always remember and to never forget that you are beautiful and you are loved. Bye.